Hi, my name is Benedict. I'm a member of Trinity Grace Church, Ramsbottom. After my A-levels, I decided to take a year out. Since I became a Christian, when I was little, I've always wanted to become a missionary. More recently, I've realised that it would have to be a sacrifice and it would have to be for the Lord. And I think I'm being called to that ministry. That's why I decided to take the gap year, to see if I really was fitted to that ministry and if God really was calling me. The church found it fitting to send me out both to Kenya and to France. It was extremely encouraging to evangelise in Kenya because every time you go up to someone and you ask, would you like to, can I talk to you about Jesus? They would usually say yes. So it was easy to give them the gospel and to speak to them about Jesus because Kenya as a whole is a very religious country. And while people would know the name of Jesus and would say they're Christian, most are not. So the work we were doing was really important. I was also able to attend 2 weeks of the Pastoral Training program out there, which is so essential. Pastors from all around Kenya were coming in and hearing how to teach and preach so that they can go out and preach the word. Although I did spend most of my time in Nairobi, I travelled around a bit also. Went to Pokot, Bumala and Mombasa. I was particularly encouraged by Pokot, where there are growing up to 15 churches now, and it's a really rural area. And it was so wonderful to see people who 100 years ago didn't have the gospel, didn't know about Jesus, who were still involved in tribal conflicts, worshipping the same God in the same way. It was truly remarkable to see what the gospel can do. After Kenya, I was sent out to France for 2 months to help with the church out there. France is unfortunately a very spiritually dry country, and it's much more difficult to engage people in conversation about the gospel, even at the most simple level. Despite the spiritual dryness in France, the church out there has been blessed with a decent amount of members. The church is also involved with Muslim outreach, and while I was there, the pastor visited an Iranian couple. It was amazing to see the way the Lord had worked in their lives, even in such a significantly Islamic country such as Iran. Of course, I spent a significant portion of the year here in Ramsbottom, and while here I was heavily involved in our church ministries. I spoke at a number of the children's meetings, I was doing things logistically behind the scenes a little bit. I led a number of the services and spent also a lot of time with one of our pastors in an area called Charlesworth. It's very encouraging, and I saw how important one-on-one ministries of people really are. What have I learned from this year? I've learned firstly the necessity of sound theology. In Kenya in particular, I saw so many people under the false doctrines of the health, wealth and prosperity gospel. Secondly, I've seen the need for prayer. In both Kenya and France, I saw most vividly the stubbornness of man's heart to the gospel. And if we don't pray, how shall we receive? I've also seen the need for associated churches under a biblical confession. In Kenya, there were so many churches, the Reformed churches, under one banner, if you like. And this meant that if one started to slip, if one was backsliding, it could be raised up by the others, it could be put back on the rails. And of course, I've seen the need for men to go. I don't know what the Lord's will for my life is, but I hope that He will help me to serve Him in the best way that I can. And finally, of course, I've seen the power of God to change, Christ's power to change lives. He's changed lives of people I've seen in Kenya. He's changed the lives of people I've seen in France. He's changed lives all around me in the UK. He's changed my life. He can change your life as well. It is my prayer that we'll see more people going out and preaching this gospel to the lost sinners.